Dre Greenlaw, Charvarius Ward, Talanoa Hufanga, Kyle Juszczyk, Deebo Samuel, amongst the 49ers that have signed elsewhere. That's a lot of name brand players that the Niners are saying goodbye to. This doesn't smell like a rebuild. They still have to work out the Brock Purdy situation, and we'll get to that in the next segment when we go to the NFL as a whole. But the Niners got a lot of holes now they got to fill.
Well, and they passed that window of the sweet spot of having a very productive rookie contract, 7th-round pick, Brock Purdy, to a guy that's earned a paycheck, whether or not they want to do it, which sure seems like they will. And they were able to spend Dave on other positions, which was kind of how they built that great team.
And look, Bill Belichick was always the best at it. Better to say goodbye a little too early than a little too late. And the Niners do need some wholesale changes. They're obviously very much in on Brandon Ayuk and Ricky Pearsall. And you have George Kittle, of course. Let's not forget. I don't want to forget him. And Juwan Jennings. I don't know, man. I don't know if this is one of those where they go, okay, well, we're just going to and I don't hate this, by the way. Pearsall is going to be a stud. We're going to elevate Juwan Jennings, and then Brandon Ayuk is manna from heaven if he's okay to go with Kittle. Elijah Mitchell goes to, where do you go? The Chiefs?
Yes.
Yeah. Elijah Mitchell goes to him.
McCaffrey being back is the massive one, right?
Absolutely. And being back and being functional,
being CMC,
not being an old man or whatever. But that is a lot of money, dude. That's a lot of money and we knew this cap situation was going to happen. And they lead the league in dead money now by a decent margin. But they're also going to have themselves quite a few draft picks as well.
Yeah, so their offseason is still going to be important. Obviously, these are a lot of high-profile names, a lot of names that helped them in all the winning they had been doing. But, this isn't like, oh, we weren't prepared for this. I think they wanted to cut some of that, cut some of the age, cut some of the salary. But then now, how do they replenish it?
They're going to have to. This is where John Lynch earns his money. And look, you still have Bosa. You'll probably have another Bosa. You still have Fred Warner, Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. What I don't want to get lost in this whole thing, I think this is going to be weird. Kyle Juszczyk is going to be a weird one for the reaction because on one hand, I do think some Niners people are going to way overrate, like, oh my God, you have no idea how important he has been. And you'll see next year, especially in that run game, Kyle Juszczyk, they're one of the few teams that employ a full-time fullback. This is going to hurt them, and it needs to be covered a ton. And I also think you're going to have some people that say, dude, it's a fullback. He's probably past his prime. Like, let's not freak out about it. Honestly, I do think it's in the middle. I think if you're just saying, oh, well, okay, Kyle Juszczyk, whatever, you're wrong, dude. He's super important, and he has been super important. If you think this is going to be 2 or 3 more automatic losses, you're overreacting.
Yeah, I think the other part, too, about not only Juszczyk, but they I would say last year they drafted really well. They had a really good group, so they got to draft well again. I think they still have to build up that defensive line. Like, to me, when the Niners were a real Super Bowl threat, they had a defensive line specifically that could change a game and just wreak havoc. They got to do more of that.
Well, and they let a tackle and a guard go as well. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that a bit later. So I do wonder if this draft is going to be heavily line related. You bring in Joey Bosa, you bring in a couple other guys and really fortify through that draft, which again, they're going to have they did have a great draft last year. And it wasn't just Ricky Pearsall. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll get into those NFL moves. Sam Darnold, Cooper Kupp, Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Kenny Pickett. Oh, by the way, and perhaps a new backup quarterback in San Francisco as well. I'm very happy about. We'll get to that next.
On the move,